So I've gone on record how much I love transformations in anime and manga, and there are so many different moments where it'll just get you hyped. But what if a character's main ability was that they just transformed into a bunch of different things with different abilities and strengths to them? Well, that's exactly what takeover magic from Fairy Tail does. Takeover magic basically allows someone to transform depending on the variety of their takeover, and they gain that particular ability based on what they end up transforming into. But takeover magic feels incredibly diverse. Heck, I would even liken it to a somewhat simpler version of the Omnitrix from Ben 10, if I'm gonna give any type of comparisons. As you literally have the ability with that to transform whatever you want, depending on the situation, as long as you have that particular transformation. And so I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and a lot of you have been requesting it in the comments of my previous Fairy Tail Explained videos, so we might as well jump right into it. But before we get into this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Fairy Tail Explained has been doing very well and I want to keep it up. And at the point of me recording this video, I am less than 3,000 subscribers away from hitting 20k, so let's get there as soon as we can. But with that out of the way, let's jump right into things. Before we get started, this video is brought to you by Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. If you're like me, then you've probably wondered at some point how you can get your hands on some authentic Japanese snacks and enjoy them in the comfort of your own living room. Well, you don't have to wonder anymore because Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. have you covered, as their goal is to bring you, the people, authentic Japanese snacks for you to enjoy in the comfort of your own home. And Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. are both monthly boxes that have a specially selected assortment of snacks and treats catered around a particular theme of each individual month. Tokyo Treat is a monthly pop Japanese snack box where you can get up to 20 different exclusive limited edition seasonal flavored Japanese snacks, alongside instant ramen and a particular drink, depending on the month. And to make things even better, these snacks are only available in Japan for a limited time. And Sakura Co. is a monthly Japanese artisan snack box that supports local Japanese snack makers, with each box having over 20 traditional, different, authentic, and artisanal Japanese snacks, including different varieties of teas and a special Japanese tableware. Now this month's theme for Tokyo Treat is the Tokyo Snackcation. Join Tokyo Treat as they invite you to journey across Japan's exciting and colorful capital city of Tokyo, which, as you might guess, is Tokyo Treat's hometown. And this month's Tokyo Treat box is packed with delicious, sweet, and savory snacks inspired by famous cities, so get ready to explore this month's massive metropolis and experience Tokyo Treat through this month's box. Now some special snacks to highlight are the Kit Kat Royal Milk Tea, the Tokyo Soyu Ramen, the Koikea Ume Chips, the Pokemon Chocolate Marshmallow, and the Melon Cream Soda. My personal favorites are the Royal Milk Tea Kit Kat bars, the Pokemon Chocolate Marshmallow, the Painomi Mini Pies, which are flavored peach tarts, the Castella Donut, and the Mini Chocolate Chip Cookies. All of which are found in this month's box, and I cannot recommend them anymore, as they are all incredibly sweet and delicious. As for Sakura Co., this month's theme is Traditions of Tokyo. Tokyo isn't just a modern metropolis, it has a rich history that stretches back centuries. That's why this month Sakura Co. invites you to step back in time to Tokyo's Edo period, immerse yourself in the timeless charm of traditional Tokyo by savoring authentic flavors from this city. Some standouts are the Hinari Arai, the Mizuwarabo Mochi, the Mochi Monaka, the Tokyo Skytree Baked Chocolate, as well as many more. My personal favorites, however, the Tokyo Skytree Baked Chocolates, the Mochi Monaka, the Milk Tea Belgian Waffle, the Blueberry Tarts, and the Hanatsumi Gummies. And all of which pairs very well with the Koromame Tea. As well, you also get, with every box of Sakura Co., a very specially handcrafted piece of tableware. This month's is the Tokyo Plate. For both Sakura Co. and Tokyo Treat, if you want to learn more about each individual item and the area and themes, feel free to check out the booklets that come in each box, as it has a wide variety of information that will surely catch your interest. I personally can't get enough of these delicious snacks, and I would love to share these with all of you. So if you want to go ahead and grab your own boxes, go ahead and check the links down below and put in the code GreekWeeb in order to get $5 off your next order of Tokyo Treat or Sakura Co. So this month you get a nice taste of Japan from the comfort of your own home. And I'm sure you will find your own personal favorites among these boxes. Again, check the link down below and use the code GreekWeeb to get $5 off your order. Thanks again for Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to business. So what exactly is takeover magic? Well, takeover magic is basically an advanced type of caster magic that is primarily focused on the caster themselves. And what takeover magic does, it allows the user to take over the power or the body of a particular entity and use it to fight. And by doing this, it increases the power, strength, and speed of the caster depending on what they transform into. And sometimes it could end up adding additional movesets and abilities from whatever they transform into to the point of getting other magical abilities. There is a really good example of this that I will get into later down the road, so hold on to that thought. But good examples is just the ability to fly, ability to swim underwater, etc, etc. Those are the basics of what some takeover wizards can end up doing. But we can only take over the power of a being that they know. Now this is also kind of vague to an extent, because depending on what type of takeover you're doing, it will vary, because in certain cases you have to literally grab onto whatever you want to take over, and you will be able to legitimately steal that creature's body and abilities and make it one of your transformations. An example of this is from Mirajane and Elfman, which we'll get into their particular situations further in the video. But in some other cases, you literally just have to just know whatever they want to take over, but based off the name and how specific examples we have seen in the anime and manga, you most likely just have to legitimately take over whatever creature you want, but your will would actually have to be stronger than that creature in order to completely override it and make it one of your abilities. So yeah, kind of like the Omnitrix, except it doesn't have sentient beings that you have to legitimately grab and steal instead of just taking DNA and you get your own transformations, no strings attached, some of the time. I'm missing Ben 10, and this ability reminds me of Ben 10 to the most broadest degree, so kind of cut me some slack if you're not liking the comparison. But takeover magic actually has 5 different types. There's Beast Soul, Animal Soul, Satan Soul, Machina Soul, and God Soul. And while the baseline of being able to utilize these different takeover magics is the same, depending on what it is, it's a different classification to these takeover magics that end up making a specialist of each particular type. Also, something I did want to clarify, as I didn't do a good job earlier, when it comes to taking the abilities of whatever a takeover wizard does, when I mentioned being able to fully take over the body, it's either that or being able to take over their abilities and make it into your moveset, thus adding into that one particular transformation. It's either taking that ability and using that to create your transformation since you're taking over that particular portion of that entity, or you're legitimately taking their body, abilities, physique, everything and all. So there's 2 separate ways that that could happen. But enough of the baseline information of takeover magic, let's get into the different types of takeover magic. Now normally I go by order of introduction, but I want to save my favorite for last, so I'm just going to take that one and leave it for the end, and then we'll just go in relative chronological order. Okay? Perfect. Alright, so let's start with the first type of takeover magic, which is Beast Soul, with the only person we've really been able to see utilize this was Elfman in Fairy Tail, obviously from the Fairy Tail Guild, but there was also this Lizard Man guy from a movie, I believe it was Phoenix Priestess, that had a copy ability which copied Elfman's takeover magic ability. But as of right now, Beast Soul is only being used by Elfman in the mainline series. Now, Beast Soul is actually the first of the different types of takeover magic that we see in the series, but when we were first introduced to it, it actually ended up having 2 different sets of being used. One is partial takeover magic, and the other is full takeover magic. Partial takeover magic is literally just Elfman enhancing a specific part of his body, usually his arm, with a particular takeover that he has acquired over his life. And like any takeover spell, it gives him the enhanced speed, strength, durability, etc. of whatever he's transforming into, and their abilities. And he records them as beast forms. And the beast forms can be used by a single mage, having them be recorded by encountering the different beasts and taking them over. And it's said that you have to actually defeat the beasts that you want to take over in order to record their transformations within your magic. So all of these transformations and partial transformations that Elfman has done are from beasts that he himself has defeated, or at least had help with defeating, with one form in particular, and later down the road, as we will see further. Now, Elfman has a number of full takeovers and partial takeovers, which I can do in their own video later down the road, because it'd be fun to just talk about each and every one of these individual forms and their abilities later down the road, as I do plan to do something like that with Urza's Requips down the road as well. Now, in terms of Elfman's partial takeovers, we've seen him use 6 different ones, and they're all limited to his right or sometimes left arm, but it's usually his right arm, and he refers to them as his beast arm forms. He's got Scale Bull, Bear, which is what he used as a child when he was first learning to use transformation and takeover magic, his Iron Bull, his Black Bull, Stone Bull, and Jet Black Sword, which is something that he managed to acquire in the Tenro Island arc. And all these transformations, we could assume that he's acquired after taking down and defeating different types of beasts, so he can use their takeover magic on. And where it really comes into the really cool category is Elfman's full takeover magic, which is Beast Soul, which is the giant red demonic looking beast monster that he managed to end up taking over when him, Mira, and Lizana went out on their real S-Class mission together, and that became one of his go-to transformations. You got Beast Soul Belkissus, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's got Were Tiger, which we only see for a few seconds. He's got Lizard Man, which has very good durability, and it's probably one of the coolest looking forms outside of Beast Soul. He's got Beast Soul Ape, Beast Soul Sand Beast, and lastly, Beast Soul Were Lion. It doesn't really have an official name, and the fanbase kind of just went by Were Lion, and we see it in the 100 Years Quest manga during the Alderaan arc. As mentioned prior, these beasts had to have been defeated in some way, shape, or form by the user of takeover magic in order to record their forms and take them over. So, by all means, even with help, Elfman most likely defeated and acquired the forms of each of these individual beast forms by himself. And the ability to literally take over any type of magical or just physically strong beast that could help you in any situation is definitely an ability that I myself would love to have. Now, the next type of takeover magic is actually called Animal Soul. And as the name suggests, it literally allows the user to transform their body into an animal. Gotta put in this correction here, as I made a mistake earlier. Beast Soul isn't the only one that can do partial and full takeover. It is basically baked into the takeover magic as a whole, but it's primarily done with Elfman and sometimes with the user of Animal Takeover magic. So I'm sorry for any mistakes that I just made as I was recording. So I wanted to throw that in there. Back to the actual video. So whoever utilizes the ability of this type of takeover magic can turn their body into animals, either parts or their entire body. And along with that, the user gains their abilities, etc., etc., enhanced combat skills, abilities to fly or swim depending on the animal as well, as you probably guess. Now this honestly gives a good deal of versatility in the transformations for both combat and just mundane problems. You can dig a hole, you can fly to get away, you can swim away. There's a good amount of variations for this takeover magic, as it relies purely on just animals as a whole. However, there isn't really an exact way known in order to unlock these transformations, whether you have to defeat the animal, take them over, or just get to know the animal, for all we know. It's very vague. It's the vaguest one so far, kind of, so there's not a real concrete way that we know of for this particular takeover magic. Perhaps just get to know the animal in some way, shape, or form. Now, we only have one user of Animal Soul in Fairy Tail, and that is Lizana, the sister of Elfman and Mirajane. And obviously, those three siblings are the main users of takeover magic in the series that we know of and see the most of, so kind of goes without saying. Lizana actually has 10 types of Animal Soul takeover magic, which is the bird, the rabbit, the penguin, cat, which obviously, of course, since it's a cat, it's going to be a cat girl. It's anime, we roll with it. We don't really question it, and we all kind of enjoy it. There is fish, a mermaid, a pig, a harpy, nine-tailed fox, and a snake woman. Now, the nine-tailed fox one looks really strong, and obviously because of Japanese folklore, and I'm curious if this is because of her defeating it, which would raise Lizana's power level in a sense. But still, these are all of Lizana's main takeover abilities, and it's usually just either a random animal, some sort of mermaid, or a harpy or a cat girl, or the fox that we saw in this, which really cool, really interesting. It's all different types of animals, though the snake transformation, the harpy transformation, and the nine-tailed fox are more mythical, same with the mermaid, in terms of how we see them in different works of fiction. So I'm curious to see how she obtained these forms. as it'd be really cool if she had to actually defeat these in order to gain these transformations like with most other takeover spells. But yeah, those are all of Lizana's forms, and I could go over each of them in a separate video if you guys want. But that would be a relatively short video. Moving on, we're not going to the next member of the Strauss family. I want to save her for last, obviously. But next up, we have Machina Soul. And this is used by Jenny Rylite, member of Blue Pegasus, and we only see her really use it in the Grand Magic Games arc when she fights mirajane. As a fight, it's more of a modeling contest until the end where Mira just goes with, this is supposed to be a fight and basically takes her down. But Jenny only has used one type of Machina takeover magic, which was the Battle Suit. Nothing really to note about the Battle Suit, but all we know from the form of Machina is that it's a different type of takeover magic, and it has to do with machinery and different stuff like that is primarily for the caster themselves. And this form allows the user to transform their attire into well-armored outfits and heavy weaponry. Basically, this one operates as a, re-equip with extra steps, if I'm being honest with you, based off of it's only one user, and we only really see it once in a singular quick battle against Mira in the Grand Magic Games arc. And really all we know is that it's a pretty durable takeover magic. Even though the caster did lose the fight, they didn't really appear too damaged after taking on assault from Mira, so we can put it up there as kind of durable, but still lost the user to fight because the user is not really much of a fighter, I guess. So not really much to really talk about when it comes to that transformation, so I have no thoughts on it. Next up is one that I am completely confused is even a thing, yet I guess it's something to go with, is God Takeover Magic, which is something that came to a surprise to me and many fans during the Alvarez arc, when we had a member of the Spring and 12, Demaria Yesta, who is the only user of this type of takeover magic, pull it out on her fight against Wendy and Shelia. And man, is this ability pretty OP, if I'm being honest with you. Because as the name suggests, this takeover allows the person to literally get the powers of gods, which is crazy. And Demaria has the God of Time, which is another crazy thing. So when it comes to God Takeover Magic, essentially what it's made to do is that it relinquishes the body and allows the user to, like other takeover magics, absorb and use the powers of a god, which is already insane, gaining their abilities and assets. Now these forms allow the user to completely change their appearance into the gods themselves, giving them full control of their bodies and of their abilities. So, as we see with Demaria, she's got God Soul Chronos, but she also has a different version of it, which is Overflow, which is another utilization of the Chronos transformation. And when we see this, basically, it gives her the ability to stop time. She has the world literally freezing time in order for her to move around in that separate space. Now, I can get into full of these abilities, but I might just go over Demaria in a separate video at some later point down the line. But all you gotta know about God Takeover Magic is that it allows the user to take over the powers of a god by relinquishing their body, gain their appearance, and their abilities. Now, it's never stated how they acquire this. It could either be defeating a god, or doing some sort of ritual in order to do this, or gain the approval of a god, or a contract with a god. It's never fully stated, but based on how we have the different criteria for takeover magics as of this moment, we can assume that Demaria somehow managed to become familiar with a god and use the ability of takeover to gain their abilities in some way, shape, or form. It's never fully explained. Because I find it very hard to believe that she legitimately beat a time god that could freeze time in order to gain their abilities. So I'm assuming it's more so like a familiarization with the abilities and forming some sort of contract similar to a celestial spirit in order to allow that person to utilize the powers of the gods. This is a full-on theory headcanon thing that I came up with because it's not a full-blown explanation as to how God Soul really works. Now there is actually another takeover magic, but it's not canon, but I just felt like mentioning anyway. It's Devil Takeover Magic from the Fairy Tail game Fairy Tail Goku Mahorambu, I hope I pronounced that correctly, where the character of Largo has the ability of Devil Takeover Magic, which allows him to gain the abilities of undead creatures and undead traits, and the ability to use light and dark based spells when using this magic, and it's usually shown in his right arm as a crystalline spike. Not much else to really go into with it as this is literally a game character, and I just felt like mentioning it because the name Devil Takeover Magic sounds cool, but it doesn't really have anything to do with literal devils, just with undead creatures. Now then, the final takeover magic that I want to talk about, and my personal favorite out of these outside Beast Soul, is Satan Soul, used by mirajane. You did not hear any of that. But yeah, mirajane is the only person we have seen to use Satan takeover magic, and it is by far one of the coolest reveals for a power-up I have ever seen when she first unleashed it in the Battle of Fairy Tail arc. And as the name suggests, this power of takeover allows the user to take over and gain the powers of demons. These forms give the user, obvious like the rest, their abilities such as flight, enhanced speed, strength, reflexes, etc. Now the conditions of defeating a demon is similarly different for this takeover magic, as Mira's powers have somewhat of a demon superiority to it, as this allows her through her takeover magic to control and or destroy a demon without even taking its form. Which means that she has pseudo takeover magic in the form that she can not only transform into demons that she can take over, but you can also just utilize their abilities without having to use the transformation itself. Now what's interesting about this is that in order to really utilize this takeover magic, it requires one to possess the genes of a demon, or demon genes, in order to use. Which helped in Tartarus, as since she managed to have these abilities of demon genes, she wasn't affected by being transformed into a demon by Tartarus, and she then ended up utilizing Macro a Curse after taking over in Aetherius, which is an insane feat in and of itself. And with this, essentially, she also has to basically overpower the will of the demon if she wants to gain their abilities and their forms for these transformations. Now, Mira herself has 6 canon Satan Soul transformations. There is the obvious Satan Soul, her very first utilization of this ability that we see in the series. There's Satan Soul Citri, which is said to be her strongest form of Satan Soul. There's Satan Soul Halphis. There is Satan Soul Hell's Core, which is Mira utilizing these abilities in her base state, as this was essentially gained by taking over the powers of the Hell's Core laboratory in Tartarus. She has Satan Soul mirajane Soleil, which is one of the Aetheriuses that she ended up taking over from Tartarus, which is always a cool scene, and now she can utilize the curse ability of that demon. And finally, Satan Soul mirajane Allegria. And again, in some point down the road, I'm going to go over each of these different transformations and their abilities down the road. Now, mirajane does have one Satan Soul that is non-canon from a video game, which is Satan Soul Martyr Tartarus. And I wish this was canon. This looks amazing. But yeah, those are all the different types of takeover magic, what takeover magic is, and the users that we currently know that do use them. My personal favorite is obviously Satan Soul, but Beast Soul is definitely a very close second, with God Soul coming in third because of the sheer absurdity that it is. But what did you guys think? What is your favorite type of takeover magic that you've seen in this video? What type of takeover magic would you like to see in the future if Majima ever introduces a new form of it? And what's your favorite takeover transformation out of each individual types that you have seen so far? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below, as well as what other type of things you'd like me to go over for Fairy Tail, whether it be story moments or different magical abilities. And what's more, if you haven't already, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day. I will never apologize for the Mira simping in this video.